to our growth as a nation.
From energy,
Mining,
transport,
construction,
agriculture,
entertainment,
banking,
and health.
Make it that as we bring you insightful and meaningful conversations.
To spark your attention.
Sector Spotlight shines another bright light into your homes this season. Sector Spotlight.
By beaming into various sectors that are impactful to our growth as a nation.
From energy,
Mining,
transport,
construction,
agriculture,
entertainment,
banking,
and health.
Make it that as we bring you insightful and meaningful.
Good afternoon, our lovely viewers, and welcome to Sector Spotlight right here on Light TV. If you're watching us on Topstar, you want to find us on channel 121, and on Facebook Live, it's Light TV, on YouTube and on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, you just search for Light TV Zambia. So this is Sector Spotlight, and I am your host, Pauline Ngozo. This is a program where we shine a light on the issues that matter most to our economy and the people of Zambia. Today we are talking about a development that's causing ripples in the fuel transport industry. The Zambia Meteorology Agency's new push for tanker trucks to comply with meteorology requirements, with allegations of fuel alterations and concerns over measurements, accuracy. ZMA move aims to bring order and fairness to the market. So joining me live in the studio is the Executive Director for ZMA, Mr. Humphrey Nkobeni. I'd like to welcome you to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me this afternoon. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And maybe for starters, I know that there may be some people who have not heard about ZEMA, and would you like to explain a bit more? I'm saying ZEMA, but ZMA.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the Zambia Meteorology Agency
Yes.
is a statutory body under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, which was set up pursuant to the Meteorology Act number 6 of 2017, with the sole mandate of ensuring that all measurements obtained in this country are accurate and are comparable to the measurements to the rest of the world. Now you may notice that there's usually confusion with the term meteorology. People confuse it with the meteorology, which is a science of weather. Meteorology is a science of measurements. So the Zambia Meteorology Agency's focus is measurements.
But meteorology, again, it sounds like weather, weather.
The two terms are different. Weather is meteorology.
Meteorology, okay.
Then measurements is meteorology. It comes from a Greek word meter.
Okay.
So the focus, Pauline, is to ensure that all measurements obtained in this country in all sectors are accurate, fair, and then also, since we are trading with the rest of the world, that the measurements obtained in this country are comparable with the measurements elsewhere in the world, which means a kg in Zambia is equivalent to a kg in the US, in China, in Canada, in Europe, everywhere. So a liter in Zambia must be equivalent to a liter in Australia. That, as I will explain later, is very, very important for trade and also for various application, various sectors of economy. I'll give you an example. For example, Zambia is a major producer of minerals, and we export copper all over the world. And copper is measured by tons. So when we export, for example, 20 tons, 200 tons, 400 tons, whatever dispatches in Zambia, whatever measurements dispatch this country must be the same which will be received on the other side of the world. And that is very important for international trade. Also for the products which are produced here, already packaged, and the products which are produced elsewhere and imported into this country. They are imported based on the certain measurements. So it's very, very important that the measurements we have in this country are equivalent to the measurements elsewhere. So the agency, the Zambia Meteorology Agency, ensures that all measurements are traceable to the international system of units, and then we are the custodian of the national measurement standard. All types of measurements. It can be volume, can be mass or weight, can be time, it can be force, whatever is measurable. We are the custodian of national measurement standards.
Awesome, awesome. There's a directive that has been given by ZMA. Would you like to shed some more light?
Yes, so as we support, as we undertake our mandate in various sectors of the economy, we ensure that there is fair trade and also consumer protection. Okay, so this covers all sectors: agriculture, mining, and also energy. So in the energy sector, we find petroleum there, which is a very, very important enabler of the economy. And 100% of our petroleum products are imported in this country. They either come in through the pipeline at Tazama, or they will come in by road or by rail in the fuel tankers. So now, the norm or the way we operate in the petroleum sector, the tanker trucks that move products, usually if you see them on the road, they are labeled with some measurements. 500 liters, 7,000 liters, 5,000 liters. So those are compartments. And those measurements which are labeled outside there actually are the capacity of the compartment. And by law, in line with the Metrology Act number 6 of 2017, and all the SI 55, Statutory Instrument 55 of 2021, all those tanker trucks are presented to the Zambia Metrology Agency for annual verification. So that's a norm. So all the players in the sector know that, and that's how they run. So it's not a new directive, it's just an enforcement. Because new people, new players who are coming on board who may not be compliant. So, and also to ensure at the beginning of the year, so that we have a nice business here. So we always remind our sector players that please present your tanker trucks to the Zambia Metrologians for re-verification, because if they are not, they will not be allowed to load or float at various commercial as well as retail sites. So the message or the communication we gave to the sector was that all tanker trucks, as by law requirement, need to be presented to the Zambia Metrologians on an annual basis for verification. We call it statutory verification. Now, that is a norm worldwide. Now, even for these tanker trucks, some of them are cross-border, some of them operate locally. So those who are cross-border, for them to be allowed to load, mostly in Tanzania, they will request for the same certificate for them to allow them to load. So it's better at the beginning of the year, we normalize and we run and ensure that everybody is compliant before we start the year.
And maybe you'd want to talk about the immediate impact of this reinforcement.
Yes. So the requirement, because what happens is, let me give you a scenario. If a tanker truck is not verified and is moving product from point A to point B, when it's loading, the calibration or the verification, we call it the allege mark, helps the driver to have a reference, because when loading, normally we use what we call backflow meters. Now these backflow meters will pump the fuel into each of the compartments up to and it to flash with the allege mark, which Zambia Metrologians have put in there and is sealed. So the driver has an opportunity to independently check what has been loaded. Is it 5,000 or not? If it's below the allege mark, the driver at loading point has a right to indicate, no, but I'm not happy with this. They can offload and reload until all the parties who are involved are happy with what has been loaded in the truck. The same way at offloading point, before it's offloaded, the receiving plant will open the doom cover and check, is the fuel flashing with the allege mark. If it's below, then there be some concerns raised. What happened? Okay, so maybe there could be some tampering or siphoning or whatever happened to the product. So that's the role of the allege mark. It empowers the transporter, empowers the receiver, empowers all the players in the subsector as they are carrying out their work. So the immediate implication is that we want all of the players to harmonize. so that we eliminate the rampant losses, because there have been some losses at offloading, some complaints from various sector players that there's been some losses. So now, how do we eliminate losses completely? Is to ensure that we pay attention to measurements. The backflow meters that are loading and offloading are checked by Zambia Meteorology Agency that they're accurate, and periodically they're checked using a master meter, and also the vessel itself, which is carrying the product, which is the tanker truck, is also verified, and it has an acknowledged mark. So all players are all compliant. So you have a higher chance, and you have, when everybody is compliant, you get a compliant result from that. So there will be less complaints and also more compliance. Now, the important thing is that petroleum products are high value, and they're very, very critical. So we don't allow any losses to be tolerated.
Awesome. Yeah, I need to give our viewers our studio lines so that if they need to send those messages and text, they should do that. So in case you're just joining us, you are watching Sector Spotlight on here, Light TV, and I am hosting the Executive Director for Zambia Meteorology Agency, and we are talking about, the measurements and, so if you want to be a part of the same, the lines that you can phone or text on are 0960741864 or 0974578988. So I'll say that again, 0960741864 or 0974578988. Then you can take part in this conversation. So you talked about this is not like a new directive, it's a reinforcement. And And you said so at the beginning of the year, making sure that you reinforce this. And how often is this done? Or do you do the reinforcement only at the beginning of the year as a reminder, expecting that the people will still, or the players will still remember that they were reminded to do the right thing? Or do you have other programs or platforms at which you do the reinforcement?
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, in our line with our mandate, apart from doing the actual verification of these vessels, we undertake compliance inspections.
Okay.
Usually in collaboration with other regulators. So go to loading points, the commercial sites, for example at Tazama or other OMCs.
Randomly?
We randomly and inspect the tanker trucks that they are compliant. Okay. And then also, at the same time, we entertain complaints. Should anybody, member of the public, complain, either the receiver or the driver or whoever, the owners of it, we entertain those complaints and we look at them. But the most impactful and effective way is scheduled inspections. Okay. So we inspect. We send our engineers and they monitor and inspect every truck, loading, offloading at these various points. So that's what we do. And certain times, which is most rarely, we will undertake even roadside check spots.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because considering the vast network of the fuel, transport routes. Yeah.
Yes, we've had some cases where we go at toll gate, for example.
Okay.
We set camp there. So the trucks are stopping up to pay. We inspect, we check that they have the documentation, because the requirement is that every tanker truck must move with a certificate. And they have certificates, all of them, very valid. Except the few ones, especially the new ones. So we want that everybody is be compliant and move together as we move. Yes,
all right. And, this same compliance, do you think it will add costs to fuel transport and potentially affect fuel prices for consumers?
No, I'll tell you what happens, right? The role of measurements anywhere, okay, not only in the petroleum sector, is so cardinal. Imagine the losses they can suffer if there are no measurements. That is what will increase the cost of doing business, because we are suffering losses. Now, if you pay attention to measurements, you remove waste and losses. So it's a zero effect on the cost of fuel. it has no impact. But this is what we've been doing, and it actually adds value because it gives control to the people who have custody of these products, moving from point A, point B, no losses, no siphoning, and that is very, very important to reduce the cost of doing business. That's our role. So there is no negative effect in terms of increasing the pricing.
Okay, and I'm sure you heard that there were issues, I think, even at Tazama as of early this week, where I think some tanker drivers were almost protesting. So do you think that this move is going to address the issues of discrepancies in fuel measurements, that the drivers have been complaining about? Do you think it's going to answer their complaints?
Yes. So what happens is, like I said, when the products come in at those fuel terminals, there are instruments we call backflow. Now, these backflow are verified by ZMA every 6 months. Okay? Now, these are mechanical machines or instruments. They can divert, they can make errors and all that. So now, what we do as ZMA, before they are installed, and that's very, very important for viewers to understand, we undertake a process we call type approval, where we work with the manufacturer from the source country to check that indeed this backflow coming into this country meets the international requirements. So ZMA, on behalf of Zambia, is a member of the international metrology community. At SADC level, in fact, we are the chairperson. At Africa level, we are the chairperson on illegal metrology and vice president at Africa level. At the world level, we are part of the Presidential Council of Legal Metrology at world level. So these instruments, before they come into the country, wherever they are made, we ensure that the process of type approval is done to ensure that they meet the international requirements and they will keep the accuracy. So when that model is allowed in the country, we even issue a certificate so that they start using it. Now, every 6 months, we carry out a re-verification. Now, before we undertake a re-verification, we check as found. Did it deviate or not? And to what extent? Is it outside the set limits? Beyond that, also during the 6 months, as it's operating, we undertake random checks with our master meters. Is it diverting? So if we notice that one model is not in well, we can even withdraw it from the market. Or one particular instrument. So we monitor them and we follow them. Now, from time to time, there will be complaints. And like this example we alluded to, where drivers were complaining that they are having abnormal losses. So what do we do when they bring a complaint like that? We move in. So in that matter, we moved in, and as the operator is running, like Tazama, they have an instrument which we call a master meter, which is always connected to the meter to always check if it's continuing to read correctly. So we took that master meter to our test rig in Ndola. Zambia Metrologians has a test rig in Ndola, which is very, very good instrument. And then we verify that master meter and bring it back to the client where there's a complaint, and then re-verify that instrument. And then they start running. So that's what we did. So immediately there was a complaint, we said, okay, that's fine. We are going to re-verify. So we undertook the verification. Now, when we are doing the verification of the master meters, all stakeholders are present. All marketing companies, technicians, drivers, transporters, we call them at our Ndola facility. And they are part of the process, and then we sign off. So we are very, very transparent, because this is an institution for the people. The institution the government has set up to help sectors like the petroleum subsector. So the intention is to help them. So we went with them to Ndola, did the work with them, came back, set it up, and they started offloading, unloading. And we do that. Whenever there's a complaint, we move in. If things are normal, we let the business run. But from time to time, we have spot checks to ensure that they've continued reading correctly.
Oh, I hope it's something that will be done more often, because you hear of these complaints time and again. Yeah. So you talked of verification and calibration. So are these two one and the same?
No, they're different.
Okay.
So what we do on these master meters is called verification.
Okay.
Yes. Calibration is on different types of instrument, and it's a different application. So what we are doing in the petroleum subsector is a re-verification, where we take a standard and ensure that the instrument which is measuring is adjusted and is reading correctly and is monitored. So it's called a statutory verification.
And are there penalties that await tanker operators who do not comply after the grace period? Like when you give, I assume there's a grace period that you have given.
So what
for the same? Yes.
What happens is our approach as Army Meteorologists, like I said, we're a government institution under Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, is to help industry. So we cover all sectors. Petroleum subsector is just one of them.
It's one sector. Yeah.
So what we do is that we provide what we call technical support. There are new players who are coming in. So before they set shop, they start business, we sit with them and we take them through and help them, teach them, train their officers, train their engineers, train their people. So when there's a problem like this, we give them time to support them, but they need to immediately align because they cannot undertake business now if the instrument is not verified. You know, the problem is if they carry using a vessel which is not verified, by law is non-compliant. Secondly, if there is a complaint, they will be disadvantaged. So if, for example, you have a scale in your business, you're using a scale, and it's compliant to the law, and then you weigh something in, and then you deliver to somebody, and then that person complains that you get me short. Now, when they come to your scale, they find your scale is not calibrated, it is not verified. What will happen? You lose out. You won't have the strength. But if your instrument is verified, you produce a certificate, the competent government institution has checked it, it's compliant. So there could have been something on the way. That protects you as a business. That's why measurements are very critical for fair trade. So that measurements are fair, there are other matters which can be looked at for demand and supply and all that, quality and all that. But the measurements to quantify the products is very, very important. So in the petroleum sector, looking at the high value, it's very, very important that we, from the time we receive the product up to the service station where the consumer is drawing fuel into the vehicle, the meter must be checked every 6 months. We re-verify them every 6 months and certify them every 6 months so that our consumers who may not have capacity to know what's going on are not disadvantaged. At the same time, if the instrument is not reading well, it's not always the consumer who lose out. Sometimes even the owner of the business will lose out if it's over dispensing. We've found cases like that. So measurements are sanctity. They must be left like that. You don't tamper with measurements. They must be accurate all the time. If you're moving a product 200 liters or 50 liters, they deliver 50 liters. And it's in that. And that's what we are ensuring. So the businesses are sustainable. They don't suffer unnecessary losses. Also, the drivers, the transporters, and the owners of the product, nobody suffers any losses. That is what we are making sure to happen.
But you're also aware that there have been some dubious means by some players in the same, in the same chain, where I think at one point there was something that I was previewed to, where I think it's the drivers, where they were removing fuel from the fuel tankers, before I think before it got to the destination. You've been previewed to that information, yeah?
You see what our mandate. Our mandate is to protect the owners of the products and the transporters, including the drivers, everyone, all the players. So if there's anyone who's tampering with the product, the system should be able to pick. Because we've moved the 50 liters from here. On the way you took out whatever quantity, when they read it on the side, it will show that something has been taken out. So our role is to just make sure that. But as to following up the people who are siphoning, that's beyond our mandate.
Beyond,
there's regulatory, there's a sector regulator, the energy regulation body that looks at that. So for us is to ensure that all measurements are correct. At loading point, the vessel carrying, and at offloading point, the measurements are accurate. So there's a fair play, there's a consumer protection, all the parties are protected. No one loses out. That's what we ensure is done.
Awesome. So you are watching Sector Spotlight and would like to take a break, and we'll continue with the program on the other side. See you.
Conversations.
To spark your attention. To spark your attention.
Sector Spotlight shines another bright light into your homes this season. Sector Spotlight. Sector Spotlight.
By beaming into various sectors that are impactful to our growth as a nation,
From energy,
mining,
transport,
construction,
agriculture,
entertainment,
banking,
and health.
make it that as we bring you insightful and meaningful conversations.
To spark your
One Love Radio is a dynamic radio platform that captures the diverse communities across Zambia with an audience of over 6.5 million, with physical satellite stations in Mungu, Mansa, and Lusaka, and frequencies that cover key markets across the nation: Lusaka, Kafue, and Mazabuka. It's an engaging, informative, entertaining journey with programming designed to maintain a dedicated listenership across the country. Get clicking, get listening to One Love Radio today. One Love Radio. Inspiring, touching, life-changing radio.
Auto-Based Engineering is a fully registered company that has services such as towing service. We have a saloon, we repair cars, we have a car wash,
Barbershop is a top-notch.
and many more.
Auto-Based Engineering is
Located along Mosotunya Road, just right at the corner of Pemba Road, Chilende South. If you want to contact us, you can call us on 0977 18 12 73.
Auto-Based Engineering, doing what we know best.
Others were working, they had good jobs, but they lost it along the way. So they need your support, they need your help. Feel free to visit our center so that we advise on how we can come together and help these individuals.
Spotlight shines another bright light into your homes this season. Sector Spotlight. Sector Spotlight.
By beaming into various sectors that are impactful to our growth as a nation,
From energy,
mining,
transport,
construction,
agriculture,
entertainment,
banking,
and health. Attention. To spark your attention.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. So in case you're just joining us, you're watching Sector Spotlight on Light TV, and we are joined by Zambia Meteorology Agency Executive Director, Mr. Humphrey Nkobeni, who's helping us to understand the issues of compliance when it comes to the petroleum industry. That's what we've been talking about. So, sir, and going forward, when it comes to the issues of compliance, you are you're doing reinforcement. So are you going to publicize the list of the compliant and non-compliant tankers to keep the public informed?
Yeah, thank you so much. What we do is that on a quarterly basis, we give a report to the public. We have a media engagement where we publicize the compliance of all the instruments, the products which we regulate to the public, so public are aware, including the products they are consuming, mealie meal, sugar, flour, all those products. We provide the compliances. We feel that's very, very important. So, and apart from the quarterly, we do the annual report. Like for 2025, we'll be having a press briefing on the 27th of January, 2026, to inform the public of how we performed as a country in terms of measurements, in terms of compliance to the measurement requirements, and how each of the products and sectors complied. So we are very open to that. Now, in that reporting, we report on what we found when we were carrying out inspections, and also the investigation coming out of the complaints. So when the public complains to us, for example, go to a service station, I feel here they have cheated me, I don't think they've given me enough fuel, we'll move in, investigate the equipment, what being used and the practices, to see if there's anything wrong. Or now, should we find something non-compliant or compliant, we still write to the members of public who has reported. And we take that seriously. On a quarterly basis, we even inform the minister that the people complained that the roofing sheets were thinner than what they bought, or the fuel was like this. So we look at all that and we're able to support the public. So the information is given to the public on a quarterly basis, so that members of the public are aware of what's happening.
And we've dwelt so much on the petroleum sector, and there's so many sectors that you have said that you are working, hand in hand. And when it comes to, maybe we can talk about the agriculture sector, looking at, we are in the farming season, and the 2025-2026 farming season. So how have you worked with the agriculture sector?
Perfect. We are so excited with what we've done, and working with our farmers and also other players, and the government at large. So you are aware that some farmers are on government program, the Farmer Input Support Program. So what we do, and also they are produced here, and I'm very happy that almost all the seed which our farmers are using is locally produced. And then there are those fertilizers which are important in the country, so we are aware, and also agrochemicals. So prior to the farming season, we inspect all those farming inputs. For those which are locally made, we work with manufacturers. We inspect their process, because if the process is correct, the instruments are verified, they are reading accurately, then the products coming out of the production chain will be accurate in terms of net content, or the weight or volume, whatever measurement they're using. And then we inspect the actual products. So now, when the products are sent to districts, the farming from district, we follow it in the districts and we inspect it. Now, we remember some years back, 2, 3, 4 years, there used to be a lot of complaints from farmers of underweight fertilizer, underweight seed, and all that. If you look at 2024, 25 farming season, there was zero complaint. Why? We worked very close with manufacturers. In fact, we met at Mulungushi and the importers of the farming input sectors, so that they become competitive locally and internationally. Because some of these products will end up on the international market. So they shouldn't be rejected elsewhere based on net content when we are here. Okay? So we help them to measure correctly. So now there was a zero complaint. Okay? And coupled with good government policies and excellent rainfall, we had a bumper harvest. So now this current farming season, 2025, 26 farming season, we did the same. So we inspected all the farming inputs as well up to district level, and they've been given out. Still up to now, we've not received any complaint from the farmers in terms of underweight seed or fertilizer or agrochemicals. So we are now anticipating the bumper harvest. So what we do, once the farmers harvest, they need to sell their product.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now, there are several players. If you look at grain, for example, one of the major players is the government through the food reserve agents. So the food reserve agents, what they do, before the grain marketing season, they present their scales. Like last year, they gave us more than 3,000 scales all over the country. We went to their buying depots and verified the scales and certified them. And we joined even at the press briefing, in assuring our farmers and the public that all these scales have been checked. Did we end there? No. Because of the bumper fest and a lot of fertilizers, a lot of products, grain were being procured, midway the buying season, we went back to check if the equipment have continued reading accurately, so that our farmers don't lose out, FRA doesn't lose out. Now, the same exercise is extended to all buyers of grain. There could be millers, there could be independent buyers, could be even roadside buyers or mobile buyers. So we go across the country to check those who are buying. In certain areas, we even go to at village level. We talk to headmen, chiefs. We talk to our agriculture officers, district, DACO, PACO, our district commissioners, involving them, that our farmers don't lose out, that the farmers should only sell their product to the buyers who have certified scales. Okay. So that message is very important. We go to local radio stations, we speak to our farmers, we interact with them to inform them that they don't need to lose out.
But in terms of like those that are in the remotest areas, have you also made strides to get there? Because I think, there could be still some issues. I think there's someone I know of last year that's a close relative, and then for them they were selling not maize but beans on a large scale. So there were some issues there with the same measurements.
Yes.
But so, that's very remote actually. Yes. It's a very remote area.
So for us, every part of the country is our operation area.
Okay.
Yes, we are in all the provinces except two. We are in 8 provinces. Physically, officers are there. Okay. And our officers, engineers, and meteorologists know the landscape of their provinces very, very well. So if you are aware of what's happening, we are notified, we easily move in and resolve that issue. And in those years where there was to be complaints of farming inputs, you hear complaints on a village, we'll go to that village. Until this issue now has been resolved. So there are no complaints on farming inputs. Now, at selling of the grain, some people may be cheated because of those briefcase buyers. So it is incumbent on the owners of the product to ensure that they only sell to those who have certified scales. And fortunately for us, the government is almost everywhere. FRA, almost every district, they're there. Even the remotest. People go there and ensure that all the scales are checked. Or to help our farmers. There could be cases also, like we've mentioned, where briefcase buyers have reached them.
Yeah, of course, those are briefcase buyers,
That thing can happen, but we want our farmers to be fully aware and get value for their money, for their labor. So they sell because our mandate is weight, measurements. So if you have 50 kg bag, it must be 50 kg, and they must get value for the 50 kg. And that's very important.
But maybe sometimes desperation comes in where someone wants money, quickly, and they can't wait, so they decide to sell to whoever comes. But how can they still be protected?
Yeah, in law, seller buyer is voluntary. You can't force somebody to sell. You cannot force somebody to buy. Okay, but where we come in is to just make the public aware that when you are selling your product, use a certified instrument. Okay, because we don't know who's losing out. I'll give you a case. There was a milling plant which was set up somewhere in Muchinga province. A new plant set up. So we visited it. And that time they went in the field, they noted that their bags they're buying were thinner than what FRI was getting. So when we arrived there, we said, can we see your measurement instrument? We found that we're non-compliant. Now, they were actually underweighing. So that business will have collapsed before it started because of wrong measurements. Measurements are very, very important. So the owner of the business quickly moved in, bought the correct measuring instrument, presented them to us, and they are running very well up to now. So it's very, very important. So it's not the farmer who's losing out, it was them who's losing out.
Yeah.
So measurements are in between, very sanctity. So all players, there must be fair trade in terms of measurements. You don't tamper with measurements. They're very, very important one for business sustainability, for a farmer to be sustainable, for the milling company, whoever is buying, to be sustainable. If they're running losses coming from emanating from measurements, they will not be sustainable. If they're running losses coming from emanating from measurements, they will not be sustainable. So it's very, very, very important. If, for example, you're producing a product, a bag of milling meal, for example, and it's a 25 kg, then you decide to be weighing 23 kg or 22 kg. What happened? One or two customers you gain, but once you are found out by customers, they will shun your product. The business will go down. You lose the customers. On the other hand, if instead of weighing 25 kg, you are weighing 27 kg, that business, people like it and they'll buy products, but you'll be losing out. You'll be suffering losses because of wrong measurements. So measurements are very, very important for business sustainability. For you to have confidence, for your customers to have confidence in your product, for customers to have confidence in what you're doing, you must demonstrate that actually you've embraced accurate measurements. And that's why we are there. We are ready to support, and we support all sectors. We provide technical support.
And maybe before we talk about technological advancement and the embracing of to enhance service delivery, maybe let's just briefly talk about the mining sector, how you've worked also hand in hand with the mining sector.
Yeah, the mining sector are our oldest client.
Oh, okay.
Because by necessity,
of course, yeah,
a mine must measure. Because if a mine is not measuring, it can be disastrous. Okay, I'll give an example. When they are mining ore from underground, they bring it to metallurgical plants for processing. They need to know, they have a process what to call metal accounting, okay, metallurgical accounting and all that. They need to know what they are mining versus what they're investing, how much copper is in there. So all those are measurements. They need to know. So that is where that way the calibration comes in, because they have laboratories where they have measurement instruments which we calibrate to ensure them estimate correctly the analyte or the copper content in the ore and in the processing. As they process in the metallurgical plants, they are increasing the concentration of copper to produce a copper concentrate. All those are measurements at every stage. Now, when it leaves, now it goes to a concentrator, from a concentrator to a smelter. A smelter, that's where they use fire, to convert, to get the ore from the concentrate into blister copper or anode. Now, that process is very delicate. So they need to know what they're charging, how they are combining the concentrates, and to estimate that there's a correct temperature. All those are measurements. And we support them at every stage. We check we calibrate the temperature probes, ensure that the wettometers are using for mixing. We support them until finally the final product comes out. which can be blister copper or can be an anode from a smelter. Okay, so now, most of those smelters are just buying concentrate from other mines. So they need to know what they've bought. So if there are no accurate measurements, they'll be suffering losses. So mines out of necessity. Now, the products coming out of the mines is exportable. They're from the refineries or electrowinning plants. They're exported to the rest of the world. And the transaction in terms of business with the rest of the world is based on what? Measurements. The customers say we've dispatched 200 metric tons of copper. It's measurements.
Of course.
That side they will receive, and the payments, everything will be based on measurements. If it's not pure copper, inverted commas, is for example, it has lower copper content, they need to go and resample that side and test. All those are measurements. So at every stage, so out of necessity, the mines have embraced measurements. So we work with them at every stage in the mining processes. So that's how we operate with them. If we withdraw our services, there will be problems. And when they export, should there be any complaints in terms of maybe short works, they will produce a certificate from us, and that will protect the mine. They will not suffer unnecessary losses in terms of transaction as they involved in international trade. So that's how this institution is set up, to help businesses undertake business, including farmers who export their products out of this country. So when they take them to a web bridge, which we have calibrated or verified, take it out. If there's a complaint, they'll produce our certificate, and that will protect them. So that is how we work and support every sector. So the mining sector has really benefited from it, and out of necessity, they are consuming our services at every stage.
And as you talk, I'm beginning to think of lots of other, sectors. And I'm thinking about the butchery. It has come in my mind,
Correct.
I think,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You had a few days ago, there was a dish of bread. You had our...
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. Sometimes drinks you go and buy, and then it's 300 meals, but then it looks like it's half, and so there'll be all those.
Those are measurements, and are very important.
Very important. And so talking about the butchery, I remember when we were young, we'd go to the butchery, and the way they put on this scale, which is like this, and it goes like this, they remove until it balances. But I've seen like now, there are those electronic ones. Yeah. So I guess it has to do with technology, and there's advancement in the agency, how it's also advancing in embracing the technology and in working with them.
So to help our viewers, before we move to technology, the way I simply explain the role of metrology is just to walk into a kitchen.
Yes.
That kitchen is actually run by metrology without you knowing. For example,
I like that.
There's a bag of millimucin that came from a manufacturing plant where we supported them. And that bag you bought, it is 25 kgs. And that's a measurement. You bought it 2 kg sugar. 5 liters cooking oil. Every coffee, everything, all those are measurements.
That's making sense. It's now coming home.
So we support that, the packaging and the weighing of all those products. And the importance of that is that you, the consumer, are not there.
Oh, yeah.
You just go to a shop, it's declared 25 kg. How do you know it's 25 kg? We, in the background, work with manufacturers to ensure you are protected as a consumer. So you just go buy, and then also, like you mentioned, you go to a butchery, you want to buy 1 kg of beef.
Yeah.
That scale, if you there'll be a sticker from ZMA.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And then they weigh, and then you buy. And then what are you using? They're using electricity. And you're paying units, it's a measurement. You're consuming water, isn't it? Measurement. There's a meter that you're measuring.
There's a meter, yes.
So everything in your kitchen is measurements. Now, as you are going to the butcher, you jump in your vehicle. You stop at the filling station, you want to buy fuel. What are you doing? Measurements.
How many
at
liters?
every stage is measurements. Including the teaspoons you're using. It's a measurement. It's everything you're doing. So measurements are very, very important, and are part of our lives every day. So our citizens, fellow citizens, the stakeholders, everybody, please pay attention to measurements. ensure that whatever you are buying measures are correct. We talked about the issue of bread that day. Bread, the bakeries, please ensure that the bread is as per declared. In the previous law, which was repealed, we used to prescribe exactly the weights of bread to be produced in the country. It was 500, 700 grams and all that. But this time, we've opened up because the tastes of the consumers are different. Others want a small bread,
It's true.
others bigger bread. Now, the requirement is that whatever bread weight is measured is produced by a bakery. Where they've displayed, they should do next to it display the weight, so that the consumer will know, oh, I'm looking for 500 grams. It's written 500 grams, and then they pick.
Yeah, but it's
Now-
just that it's written on the plastic.
Yes, some are written on the plastic,
Yes.
but others are packed in paper.
Yes.
So there's no mandatory on plastic for bread, but just by the side, you can put 500 grams bread, 700 bread. So the consumers are buying. And consumers have a right to demand, can I check if this is actually 500? There must be verified scales within the shop, and they wait. This bag of
The shop owner will let you. You're
yes,
doing that.
as a consumer is a requirement.
Okay.
Otherwise, they can raise a complaint to us and will go in. So the shop owners need to be open and understand that the consumer is buying the product based on what? Weight. So they need to be protected. They need to get value for their money. So that is very, very important. So this message goes to the shop owners, the bakeries, the butcheries, the consumers on the street. Every Zambian, every citizen, every person must know.
But how about those who sell vegetables? There you can't, you can't determine.
By the roadside.
You need to partner with them. And see
there's an issue of MEDA.
That one we need to talk about the MEDA.
Yes. So that one we will find time to look.
We need to find time.
Yes. So we're doing a lot of work in that.
Okay,
Yes,
all
yes,
right.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
once we get ready, the nation will be informed.
Yeah.
And now we are rolling it out. We'll be rolling it out
Awesome,
across the country.
awesome.
To ensure that all our marketeers
Yeah,
and our consumers are protected.
Awesome. Yeah, so maybe just before we go, now how we're embracing the issues of technological advancement.
So what we're doing is, like you've noted, we cover the whole country.
Yeah.
And of so many people are consuming our services. So what we started off was within the institution, we automated all our processes.
Awesome.
All administrative process, finance, HR, everything. But we went also now to the system that interacts with the public.
Okay.
So the one who generates certificates, and to a point where an engineer will go to a farm or a mine or a company, they do the work there and they input immediately. So immediately the client can even get an email of a certificate.
Okay.
And they continue running. We don't want the business people, farmers, to leave their business place to come to offices. No. We want in the comfort of their offices, in the workplaces. If you're a farmer, in your farm, be in the farm, and you can still transact with us, and we'll come and do the work there. So that we've done. So now, further to that, we're even now moving services to the government service pass. That covers the whole country. Okay. So the government service pass, we are taking, by the month end of this month, 30th January, all our services will be on the government service pass. So that citizens from any part of the country will go there, open up, get local Zambia Meteorology Agency, and access our services. And we'll come, make your payments on the same platform, get your receipt there, and then we'll come do the work, even get your certificate right there from the system. So that our citizens can get the services and benefit from it as the government has provided.
Awesome. That's very, very awesome. I think I have learned a lot. And I know that even to you, our viewers, there's a lot that you have learned. And I think there's need for more sensitization on the same, because I didn't know how little knowledge I also had about ZMA. I didn't, especially on the bread and, the butchery and whatnot, and the kitchen itself, the way you've explained it. So I know that people have picked a lot from this conversation, and I hope that we can have some more discussions around the same, so that people will be able to learn what they need to learn. Yeah. So thank you so much for making an appearance on the program, and thank you for watching. On behalf of my technical team, and indeed on my own behalf, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week, Friday, same place, same time. God bless you.
Sector Spotlight shines another bright light into your homes this season. Sector Spotlight. Sector Spotlight.